And so we continue our journey evermore. So we last left with Carol making her interstellar galactic phone call. And a bunch of other little stupid things happened, but it's not really worth talking about. So anyway, Fury and the Skrull impersonating his boss are now fighting, and the Skrull is tossing Fury around. And Fury's on the ground, okay? And the Skrull is pretty much standing like a foot or two away from Fury's feet. And he's towering over him, looking down, and all of a sudden, an energy beam just fires out, hits the Skrull, knocks him back across the room. And then the camera pans, and you see Fury on the ground, flat on his back, and you get to his head, and literally, a foot away from his head is Carol standing there. So what? The Skrull is looking down at Fury, but can't see Carol just standing. She's standing right there. How did he miss her? Oh, I know. She was off screen. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. That was a really cool. Wasn't it funny and cool how the energy beam just shot the Skrull across the screen? Ignore the stupid necessary to make that scene actually happen. Just have her be like at the other end of the room. No, she's just... So then they escape on the plane, and the cat. Jesus Christ. Okay. I don't even remember the Firkin. I don't give a rat's ass anymore. It's the cat. Here's the problem with the cat, and it's not even so much the movie, it's you as a brain-dead, idiotic audience. When they first see the cat in the hallway, Fury doesn't question it, Carol doesn't question it. When they get on the plane to escape the Pegasus base, the cat's already on the plane. Fury doesn't question it, Carol doesn't question it. Then, later on in the movie, when they go up to the invisible space laboratory, and the Skrull is in the ship with them, and the Skrull talks about how that cat is like this dangerous alien creature, Fury doesn't question it, Carol doesn't question it, and I guess Maria doesn't question it either. Then later on in the movie, the cat has these tentacles come out, grabs a bunch of Kree, and eats them. Fury doesn't question it, Maria doesn't question it, nobody questions it. Now here's the problem with this scene, or you as an audience. Because nobody in the movie questions the cat, you as an audience, being incapable of having independent thought of your own, go, the characters in the movie don't care or question it, so I don't question it. Tell me how to think, Disney. I don't know how to do it on my own. Because if anybody in the movie at any time questioned the cat, that's when you as an audience would have gone, oh, now we can question the cat. The movie, Disney's now telling us, now we can question the cat because a character questioned the cat. But because nobody questioned all the stupid about this cat, you went, oh, okay. We weren't told to question it, and we can't think on our own, so fine, let the cat do whatever the hell it wants. So then, they take the plane and they go to Maria's house. And the Skrulls find them. How did the Skrulls find them? Oh, I know. The writers are so incompetent, they have no idea how to progress the story, so they just pull it out of their ass. So here's the defense that I've heard. Well, since the Skrull is playing Nick Fury's boss, and he's high up in S.H.I.E.L.D., then obviously the plane they took had a tracker in it, and that's how they were able to track them. Reasonable, not a problem. So what, you think Fury and Carol landed the ship in front of Maria's front yard? Well, of course you do, you're idiots. They would have parked the plane somewhere far away and then somehow gotten to Maria's house. But because they don't show that in the scene, because they don't have that scene in the movie, you go, okay. They just show up. They just magically appear. So then they're talking, so then everybody's talking, and the Skrull mentions something about the black box. And Maria goes, how do you know about the black box? And the Skrull goes, I have a special skill that allows me to get into places I'm not supposed to. Yeah, it's called stupid-ass writers who don't know what the hell they're doing. The writers had no way of knowing or establishing or thinking, how did he get this information? So what did they do? Oh, he just has it. It's not like we know how he did it. So then we get the recording and we get the flashback. Okay. This is probably going to cover a bit, so bear with me on this. She hears the recording, and then that suddenly triggers the memory. Why? She has amnesia. Did the writers forget she has amnesia? And again, stupid-ass defense. Well, no, the sound recording triggered the memory. Really? Then how come nothing else in the movie triggers a memory? When she sees Maria, triggers no memory. When she's in Pancho's bar, triggers no memory. When Maria's little daughter hands her the jacket, triggers no memory. But apparently, when the story needs a memory to be remembered, it conveniently caught. Oh, and as for the memory, okay, so according to the memory, she's crashing. Like the plane crashes, the plane is destroyed. Like the plane crashes and is literally destroyed. And Carol walks out of it like she just did a hard landing. She didn't crash and tumble. And she didn't even look, like if she at least spent a second looking going, how did I survive that? No, total normal, no nothing. And she was on the radio. As the plane is tumbling and crashing and rolling and exploding, she's on the radio. Oh. And here's another thing. In the beginning of the movie, when the Skrulls are doing the memory thing, she ejects in the plane. According to the memory, she ejected. But when she recalls the actual memory, she doesn't eject out of the plane. Oops! Like, were the writers hoping along the fact that you as an audience have the memory of a goldfish, and you can't remember anything 30 seconds ago? You're not going to remember what happened earlier in the movie, so what do you care? And it's like, oh no, it was a false memory. No, because in that scene, okay, where she ejects, she remembers Lawson. But when Carol goes sees the Supreme Intelligence, she has zero memory of Lawson. So the writers are so incompetent they can't even keep their stories straight. They literally go, this is the... Oh, and speaking of the memory machine, I should have mentioned this earlier. Why does the Skrull ship have a memory extracting machine? Like, does it come standard or something? Like, but again, it was like, oh, we knew we were going to capture Carol, so that's why we had the memory extracting machine. Aren't these guys refugees scattered around the galaxy and are just poor little, refugee aliens, yet somehow they're able to capture a ship, like this huge ship, and commandeer it? did they get that memory extraction machine? Did they go to eBay or something? It's like, they have it because the story needs them to have it, and you have no question. And let's talk about, okay, they need the Tesseract to get the light speed travel so that they can escape. First of all, they've already established that they can get any ship they want. They already had this huge giant ship. If it's not theirs, then did they steal it? And why would they need a ship that can move at light speed when in the beginning of the movie you see the Kree team literally hyperjump, like when all the ships, those little scout ships, and the sky pixelates and they go through. The Kree have hyperjump capabilities. Just steal the goddamn Kree ships. Why do you need a lightspeed ship? You have a ship that can hyperjump. Just impersonate Kree, steal those ships, and you're done. Oh shoot, didn't even think about that. No surprise. And again, you didn't. This isn't nitpicking. This isn't 5 minutes. This isn't, 2 weeks after the movie. This is literally as the movie. This is stupid revealing itself in real time. So then Jan-Rod shows up, and Lawson's dead, and there's the ship, and they're both pointing their blasters at each other. And then Carol turns to shoot the lightspeed engine. And Jan-Rod, instead of going, holy crap, because at this point he has no affiliation with Carol. Doesn't know who she is, hasn't established a bond yet, just some nobody. Instead of him just shooting her, he's like, stop! Why would he do that? He would have just... But again, you have to have Carol shoot, so no matter how stupid the reaction of Jan-Rod... Oh, and then the explosion. Okay. Now, I know you didn't notice this because you're idiots, so I'm going to have to spell it out for you. There are two sequences of explosions going on at the same time. There's the electricity, the blue energy that covers Carol, and then there's this big giant blue dome explosion. Now, both of these things are apparently happening at the same time, but because they're being shown from different angles, okay, that's the writer's way of having both of those different types of explosions happening at the same time, so you idiots wouldn't catch how stupid it was. Literally, there's two explosions. There's this big giant dome, but at the same time this big giant dome of blue energy is coming out. There's this little trickle of blue electrical energy just specifically going towards Carol. So then we're back at Maria's house, and the costume change. Did you know that all you have to do to change the costume is just do this? Just that. No pre-programming, no nothing. Just go on the keyboard, just go on the gauntlet, on the little pad, just move it around, and that automatically changes the color of the suit. You couldn't have spent a second or two just having her type, pre-program it or... Nope. Because they didn't think it made any difference. The writers didn't know it was stupid. So the audience doesn't know it's stupid. So then they get on the ship to go find the invisible space laboratory. But how do they find it? They know the coordinates, but how do they get it? There's this terminology called Deus Ex Machina. Now, because you're idiots, I'm going to establish that you have no idea what it is, so I'm going to explain it to you. That's when the writers use a come across an impossible situation, and they use a plot device or an actual device they pull out of their ass to solve the problem. That's what the gauntlet was. Because they have no way of being able to find this invisible space laboratory, but all Carol does is type a little bit on a gauntlet, and it just automatically has the ability to decloak something she had no idea existed, was not... This gauntlet can do whatever it wants. It slices, it dices, it's Julian fries. It can do anything. This gauntlet can do anything the movie needs it to do to keep the story going. Oh, and by the way, it also has the ability to override the laboratory to open the bay doors. Well, how else did the bay doors open? The people, the Skrulls inside didn't know about them. So, literally, Carol had to somehow manually override the ship to open up the bay doors. How? Who cares? At this point, nobody... I'm almost done because I'm sick and tired of this damn movie. The Tesseract. Okay. Now, because none of you know this, because none of you ever thought this through, I'm going to have to do the timeline of the Tesseract. In the 1940s, okay, Cap goes down with the plane, and the Tesseract is in the ocean. At the end of the Captain America movie, you see Howard Stark basically looking for Captain America and ends up finding the Tesseract. So now it's safe to assume that from 1940s on, S.H.I.E.L.D. had the Tesseract. Not a problem. Then in 1989, Lawson ends up showing up on Earth. They don't explain it. And she ends up getting access to the Tesseract. And she ends up using it as a power source to create the Lightspeed engine. Still, no problem. Logical, realistic. But the movie shows that in 1989, Carol and Lawson are in the plane, and it crashes. And then Carol shoots the Lightspeed engine, hence shooting the Tesseract, which imbues her with the cosmic powers to become Captain Marvel. Again, not a problem. Here's where the problem is. The Tesseract is still among the wreckage of the plane with the Lightspeed engine. So how the hell... Now, Lawson's dead at this point. So how the hell did the Tesseract get on the laboratory in 1995? It couldn't have. There's literally no way the Tesseract could have gotten onto the laboratory. But the writers needed to get the Tesseract onto the laboratory, so screw it, we'll just put it in. No explanation, no reasoning, no nothing. And you as an audience, just, the movie says it is, so we have to accept it. Oh, and then the cat. The cat was the reason he lost his eye. Now this is how I know, this is another example of how I know the writers have no idea about continuity. Because in Winter Soldier, there's a scene where like a picture is shown of Fury becoming the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Guess how many eyes he has in that picture? 2. But apparently in 1989, he lost an eye? I know it's a minor little Easter egg / tidbit of nothing, but it's like, it just shows that the writers don't know what they're doing. It's just yet another example. The writers are incompetent, and then we get the post-credits scene. How did the Avengers find the pager? How did they get the pager? Who cares? Again, anything can happen in this movie. Anything can happen in the MCU Marvel movies, and you as Marvel zombie brain dead idiots don't care. The problem is, You are ruining it for those of us who do care. Anyway, I'm done this movie, and